Hello and welcome back to the Self-Love Show with me, Sammy. I am your host, and if you're new here, I am a clinical hypnotherapist helping women to totally upgrade their identities. So we're talking elevating their self-concept onto a level of self-love, self-obsession and self-worth so that they never ever settle again for men, bare minimum anything, low standards, even your career. So we do total factory resets of who you are at a subconscious level so that then you're updating the physical reality that you're living. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about how you are the magnet. You are the magnet to your current circumstances, to how your past unraveled, and the most empowering thing here is to how your future is going to be. So if you are absolutely fed up with attracting men who can't commit, give you bare minimum, low efforts, if you are fed up with trying your best to get your business off the ground and you feel like no clients are coming in, nobody's interested, no money is coming to you, if you're done with friendships that don't feel aligned, don't feel high vibe, they don't feel like you, then today's episode is literally for you. So when we talk about the saying, you attract who you are, not what you want, this means, now it sounds so confusing, but what it means is your subconscious mind is the entire blueprint to what you get filtered through to. If you've listened to my other episodes before, I've explained in detail about how the reticular activating system takes on your subconscious beliefs. So they are the thoughts that you think over and over that get wired and fired in so that they're neural pathways. The beliefs like men always let me down, people always leave me, I'm never chosen, never loved, never treated like a queen, clients are never coming in, I'm never making enough money, I'm always chasing, why doesn't anybody respect me? Those kinds of belief systems that you're now automatically thinking about from the minute you wake up, they are neural pathways that go through to your reticular activating system, which is the brain's filter mechanism. That job is to then go through the billions of bits of information that come into your mind every single second and filter it through by those exact beliefs. So if you do have a belief that men let you down and that men never commit, those perspectives will be attached to what he does. You'll be looking for the confirmation of that exact belief system at a subconscious level. You're not doing this on purpose. It is not something that you want. But the way you're going to change your life is to become very self-aware of what your subconscious patterns are, that the automatic thought tracks and emotional state that you're in, what you're expecting of others, what you're believing in, who you think you are. Once you can uncover what those are, you're able to then shift them up. It really is and can be as simple as that for you. Your brain is an evidence-seeking machine, which means if you believe men let you down, if you believe men are never actually available, you will be unconsciously looking constantly for the proof of that, attaching the meaning to it and trying to find the evidence to prove that you are correct. Your brain runs the show. Subconsciously, we're manifesting our life 95% of it through these unconscious thought patterns that you've had for so many years now and might not even be aware of. So that's why you're finding yourself stuck in the same patterns, because you are the same magnet for the same situations, the same kind of men, the same outcomes, the same results in your business, the same friends. Your mind is a magnet to the stuff that you don't want at the minute. But the best thing is, the most female empowering thing that you could do is upgrade yourself at a subconscious level, create that new identity, and then you'll be a new magnet for the things that you actually want. I call it a subconscious baseline. What we want to do is rise the standards of the things that you accept in your life by firstly defining this dream character. If you are living your best life, you've got a very clear vision right now, I know. Where do you want to go? What do you want to have in your life? And what you want to do is reverse engineer that version of you and what she thinks of herself. So you'd be thinking, I'm a bad bitch. I love myself. I am confident in myself. People really love me. People respect me. People value me. And it all comes from you loving, valuing, respecting yourself. With repetition, everything is about repetition. You're teaching your brain to know your worth. You're teaching your brain to know if one other individual in the planet has the life you want, that's also yours too, because you're as valuable as she is. Self-worth is a made-up measurement, but it's the one thing that stops women from getting what they want and attracting outstanding men that treat you like a queen, because your anxious attachment style takes over your whole system and makes you feel like he's above you, makes you pedestal him, makes you obsessed with him and his every move, while simultaneously unconsciously believing he's going to let you down. Your mind then needs to seek out the evidence of that. What this does is it creates a repelling energy, a repelling identity that he then pulls away from. So the ultimate truth is, men want women who really, really love themselves. Men want women who value themselves, love themselves, respect themselves more than you do him. Men are primal, like they are the hunter-gatherers. They want to be chasing, they want to win the competition, they want to feel like they've got to work their asses off to keep you. However, if you're with him identifying as a woman who gets let down, is never chosen, is never cherished, isn't valuable, isn't good enough for him, that changes your entire perspective of him, your entire perspective of yourself, and then how you show up in that relationship. You can imagine two different versions of you: the one who is head over heels in love with herself, thinking that she's extremely worthy, valuable, and deserving of the most phenomenal relationship in the world, and then the version of you who feels like she's got to chase after, just settle with scraps and bare minimum, and there's no good men out there, and she's inadequate, and is anybody ever gonna like settle down with her or commit to her? Imagine the completely different ways in which you show up in that relationship, and then what you're energetically telling that man. So the most fun thing of this whole formula to change and update the magnet that you are, to be a magnet to different things, is that it's about focusing on yourself. It's about loving yourself, caring for yourself, cherishing yourself more than you ever have before in your life. The more time and energy that you're investing in who you are, the more time and energy you invest in catching those thoughts, updating them, being so self-aware of them, and elevating your emotions, creating your future vision, and convincing your mind that that is literally inevitable, you're totally retraining your subconscious blueprint, and physical matter will match up to it. It has to, it's law, and it's literally science. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and imagined, which is why athletes at the highest standards visualize their games, visualize their matches, visualize what they're going to do. There's been so many studies to show now how what you so vividly vision in your mind and with elevated emotions feel into, your subconscious can't tell the difference. And what it then does is it creates these new neural pathways of beliefs, of familiarity, that this is now who you are. You update your self-concept to be a woman who's treated like a queen and receives a ton of money effortlessly for your existence. You update your self-concept to be a woman whose your life just worships you. You wake up and things work out for you. You're creating this biofield of like oozy self-love, knowing certain state that everything is on your side and working in your favor. As you create those blueprints of neural pathways, you're an evidence-seeking machine. You're gonna find the evidence of it. It can't be any other way. So something I really had to come across and kind of like remind myself of again this year, after I had my second daughter a year ago and I'm fully at home with her whilst I work, is that it's not just about repeating the identity. So the best way that I love to do it is I love the self-talk. I love the self-talk talk tracks. They are like abundant in the libraries of them over in my membership, the Dream a Girl Life Academy, if you want to come and join us and totally upgrade your identity over there. So I love listening to them as often as possible throughout the day. So what they're doing is they're teaching me at a subconscious level the thoughts that I want to be thinking. But it isn't enough to just think the thoughts. You must also attach the emotional state of that future, of the version of you who's in the best relationship of your life, the version of you whose money is just pouring out of the clouds onto you, the version of you who's deeply, highly valued and respected by life. Like, that is now the filter and the lens through which you're seeing your life. That's the canvas that you have created, because your subconscious is the magnet. When you attach the elevated emotions of that version of you and of that life that's already existing in the quantum field, when you attach the elevated emotions, your subconscious will accept it. Without emotions, with just affirmations, with just self-talk, with just journaling practices, your subconscious won't believe that it's actually true, and it won't then make it the new baseline and the new version of you. You have to attach emotions for it to be fired and wired in as a neural pathway. So you want to have a clear vision of who you're going to be. You want to have some clear scenes of where you're going, of what you want to happen in your life. Anything is possible. You can be whoever you want to be. You want to have a clear list of then the self-concept of that version of you and the emotional state that you would be living in. And what you have to then do is be able to embody this version of you more dominantly than the past version of you, to get out of those automatic patterns, to get out of that automatic state, thoughts and emotions that loop you back into the same outcomes with the same people and the same expectations. The way in which people trip up the most is by focusing constantly on where's the proof, when have things shifted, why is he not different yet, why is money not come in yet, why are people still treating me with disrespect. When you're focusing so much on the external, you're disempowering yourself from updating yourself at a subconscious level. You've got to give yourself, I think, at least 3 months. I fully believe in going into a bubble of at least 3 months to mentally rehearse this version of you, so that you then automatically just know and feel like you are her, independent of what's going on in front of you. So much so that you don't even care anymore. When you get to that state, it now becomes automatic, it now becomes effortless and easy, and you now know it's inevitable. And I remember back in 2021, when I first started to understand and use this formula for myself, I spent months where I didn't interact with my fiance really. Like, we had our first child, so then I'd put her to bed and I would just go to my room myself so that I could go into my bubble and I could get on with wiring and firing these new subconscious beliefs and patterns of who I decided that I wanted to believe, and hold those clear visions of where I wanted to go without me constantly getting triggered with the current circumstances that I was in at that point. That is the thing that moved the needle more than anything in my whole life. It wasn't about action. It wasn't about me doing more. It was about me being more in love with myself and being the dream version of me that I wanted to be at a subconscious level, convincing myself that I was her without any proof of it. So then we've got this evidence loop cycle that occurs where your reticular activating system, with repetition, with persistence, give yourself at least a good handful of months. She now believes that this is who you are, and it will then look into your physical life, attach the meanings, and look for the evidence of this queen goddess version of you, the girl who believes life worships her, the girl who believes everybody loves her because she loves herself so much. It's very hard for you to believe and expect for someone to treat you like a queen if you don't actually believe that you already are her. So your identity is the magnet, and your identity is the thoughts that you're thinking over and over about yourself and about your life, and the elevated emotions that you're feeling. That is the magnet through which then your physical life is going to be updated. You will see life very differently through an entirely different lens when you are obsessively head over heels in love with yourself, with your certainty of where you're going, your knowingness that it's inevitable, and your absolute belief in the fact that whatever you want, you deserve, and it is already done. Living in the future energy, in the future thoughts, that it's already yours. That is where the magic happens, because that is where you've updated the magnet. So this work is the most empowering thing that you can ever do. It is to never say that it's your fault and you're to blame. There's so many struggles and situations that people have been through in life and still are living with, that it's not fair. Like, things can happen to you that you would never wish upon another person. But the best thing that you can do now is take full responsibility of what your subconscious mind is accepting. We're doing this regardless of where we're at. We're going into a bubble of absolute self-devotion, because you can be whoever you want to be, but you are the one that has to believe it. It is your subconscious mind that has to be convinced and updated. It is your self-concept that the whole world that you're seeing is moving in alignment with. When I'm talking about living in this delusional bubble, you're not making stuff up. You're not living in a fantasy world. You're mentally rehearsing the future version of you, and you're neurologically wiring her in. So you're updating your nervous system to now normalize that this is you. Your subconscious mind is accepting these new automatic thought processes. Your whole biofield has been updated with the elevated emotions of love, of confidence, of power, of gratitude, of bliss. This whole new state of you, this state of being, is what then encourages your actions, your responses, what you then see, the meanings you attach and what you look for, what you believe in, you're gonna seek out the evidence of. So instead of believing that people don't love, value, or respect you, you wanna be believing that you are the most loved, valued, and respected woman on the planet. And to do so, it is you who must absolutely believe it, believing it to a point where it couldn't be any other way. And what this takes is dedication, repetition, and the avoidance of looking for constant proof. The best way that I've found to be able to hold this and keep moving through the motions, especially when we're experiencing challenges, because you will be faced with moments that we call the void. People have called it like the quantum crisis, where you're dissolving the old version of you, you're reinventing yourself into the new version of you, but you're not quite there yet. It's not quite automatic. And you can feel like, well, it's just not working out. Nothing's moving or things are falling apart. But that is actually the evidence and the space in which you then continuously persist. So if you persisted in this until the end of 2025, you would have 2 months behind your belt of delusionally believing that this is the version of you now and this is where you're going. Having just the knowledge and the expectations that things might look the absolute opposite because your subconscious mind is trying to fight you and keep you small and keep you where you're at. It doesn't yet feel like it's safe for you to be so in love with yourself and receiving and to be adored and to be rich and all of these amazing things that you want and deserve. Your subconscious doesn't normalize it yet. So be aware that it's going to try and fight you, keep you small. It's going to try and tell you things that you should do so that you should sabotage yourself. Knowing that helps you to hold yourself through the void and stop looking for the proof, because the constant need for external validation of what you're doing is what's going to keep you looping into the past. The more that you confirm where you're at as truth and your ultimate destiny, the more that's going to be patterned into your future. It really is about having that very clear vision of where you're going, making that more pleasurable than where you're at, and making where you're at so painful it's somewhere that you just cannot be anymore. The rules of the mind, one of the main ones, is that your mind goes towards pleasure and away from pain, which is why so many people are so afraid of public speaking, because we've in our minds collected all of this data from experiences of the past, school situations where maybe you've been laughed at. Your mind now deems that as not being safe. It's actually really, really painful. And so people will do so many things to get away from having to speak in the front of a crowd. So have your big why, have your very clear vision of where you're going, and make where you're at so painful your whole body is uncomfortable staying here. So let's do a little ending. I want you to just close your eyes. Now I want you to imagine the most magnetic, dreamy version of you. And when we're talking about the dreamy version of you, it's the version of you that you dream to be. Perhaps other women that you look up to and aspire to be and have always wished that you could but thought you weren't that girl. It's only her self-concept that you must embody. So imagine yourself as that version of you, because every single version of you exists. And now just imagine and feel this like oozy, magnetic, self-loving energy around you. You're walking with your head held high and you're feeling like, oh my God, life loves me so much. Everything works out for me. I'm so blessed. I'm so loved. I'm so adored. I'm so abundant. I'm such a strong magnet for everything I want. Loving yourself so much, being so in love with your life and obsessed with where you're going. You've got that absolute clear vision of your future. It feels inevitable for you. You're feeling like you're on a cloud, you're floating in this absolute joy, this love, this power. this bliss. You're so clear on exactly what you want to think. You're so clear on exactly who you want to be, and you're so clear on the emotional state that is going to lock that in. You're training your brain. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly who you are, and you know exactly where you're going. This feels inevitable. This feels certain. This feels like you. You're obsessed with yourself. You're obsessed with this life. And every day you wake up now, you feel like the luckiest girl alive. And with this repetition, your brain is now seeking out the evidence of this. And this is now all you see. This is the frequency that you are living on. And nothing and no one can stop that. It is you who controls your self-concept. It is you who programs your subconscious mind. And therefore it is you who gets to choose where your future is going. So taking a deep breath and letting yourself just feel into that version of you. She already exists. You just can't see her with your two eyes. She already exists through the thoughts that you need to think and repeat, and the elevated emotions that you want to feel with those visions that are so clear of where you're going. It all already exists, otherwise you wouldn't be able to imagine it. And I want you to know this, your imagination is more real than what you're seeing in front of you as physical, because the physical stuff comes after your subconscious programming. So what goes into your subconscious is in fact more real than what you're seeing right now. So I hope you've loved this episode. Please do like, subscribe, send it to your besties. Come and follow me over at the Self Love Boss on TikTok and Instagram. And all of the links to come and work with me will be in the show notes. And with that, I will see you on the next episode.